Oracle Cloud Budgetary Control Sample Use Case. Welcome. In this topic, we are going to talk about actual business case for budgetary control, to how to define budget, how to define budget calendar, how to upload budgets, how to check funds, and review budgetary control balances, and more about the budget options and budget scenarios, how to make a summary budget, how to make child at the child level value budget. So let me talk about our budget scenario, which I already implemented, and I will show you step by step how to define or how to implement the budget. Let me open Excel sheet. What I did, I implemented one budget. This one budget is not a summary, is for child count level for my expenses. I defined the two budget. One for other type, second for control. So in this scenario, I defined my budget at the low level of the account, as you know, the child. I defined two budget. This is binormal. One type of budget is other. The other one of the budget, the type is control. Let's get into the application to show you what I already implemented step by step. Once you log into Oracle, I navigate to tasks, go to down, my enterprise, setup and maintenance, select financials, go to down, budgetary control and encumbrance accounting. First step is manage budgetary control. As you see here, there are a lot of enterprise options as features. First one, budget to summary accounts in general ledger. Most of them say exactly what they are going to allow you to do. So, are you going to budget to summary accounts in general ledgers? You can enable or not enable. This is based on the organization business. Second one, synchronize hierarchy maintenance. We can use account hierarchies within budgetary control and within also GL. With those hierarchies, they can be the same hierarchies used in budgetary control and general ledger. So if they are, then you can synchronize your hierarchy maintenance to maintain the account hierarchies that are used in both general ledger and the budgetary control with a single process. It will streamline your hierarchy maintenance. If you remember in e-business, once you define a new code or a combination in your budget, after that you are going to run requests, name, maintenance or maintain the budgetary hierarchy. It's the same here, but here it can be automatically once you check or take this checkbox. Additional budgetary control liquidation validation. So this you would enable. So we have enabled here this one to fail budgetary control validation when the liquidation of a transaction doesn't impact the same control budget as it was originally reserved. So actually it does tell you what is doing on there as well. And finally, secure control budget definitions. We have got that enabled. Here it didn't enabled, so this is going to limit the users who can update control budget definition on the manage control budget page. Let me show you how to secure. We can save and close. If you see here, manage control budget data access for users, you can click on it. You can search by any actual user. I will take it, copy, ag.admin, search. There are rules I assigned to this username: budget preparer, budget analyst, and there also another for a budget manager. If you need to add a new one, you can select the username, what is the rule, search. You can create a custom, you can search by existing one. There are budget manager, budget analyst, budget preparer. For example, I am going to assign budget manager, context, this is control budget, and which budget, this is your budget which is already defined there. My to budget started by MS, this is my to budget. So this is the point of secure control budget definitions. You are going to assign the rules to the usernames, for example, budget preparer, manager, and analyst, and so on. Let me cancel. Done. Come back to my budget, manage budgetary control. So this is the 4 features here. You can enable and disable. Then you are going to define a ledger, options, and business units for your budgets. I already defined my budget for FD. So there are 2 levels, the ledger and the business unit. Start by ledgers. I already enabled the budgetary control for the ledger and all German sources, and already enabled the encumbrance accounting. Once you enable encumbrance accounting, the system asks you to enter reserve for encumbrance account. And this is independent, means you can enable budgetary control without encumbrance accounting. So this option is applicable in Oracle Cloud. Control budget filter, you have 3 options: ledger only, project, ledger or project. You could have ledger only, or project, or ledger or project. If you are not implementing projects, then you will choose ledger only. If you are implementing projects but you need only budgetary control on the charge account, which may include project segments, then you can choose ledger only as well. If you are implementing projects and you need budgetary control on project attributes but not the charge account, you can choose projects. And if you are implementing projects, you need budgetary control on project attributes and the charge account, you can choose ledger or project. Then budgetary control validation failure. We have our budgetary control validation failure options. We have got 2 options: transaction budget detail fields of date outside of date range across all control budgets, and the transaction without project attributes don't have a matching chart for account-based control budget. Budget dates, they can either pass or fail budgetary control validation, and these validations are based on whether they are within the period range of control budget that are past the defining stage but aren't permanently closed. By default, budgetary control allows transactions with budget dates outside of control budget periods to pass validation. So to fail these transactions during budgetary control validation, you set this transaction budget date falls outside of date range across all budgets. So you can set that option, but then there is more to it than that, because we also have this transaction without project attributes don't have a matching chart of accounts based control budget. So transaction without project attributes can have a budget date within the period range of all control budget but not match a budget period for a chart of account based control budget. And that can happen if your control budget filter is set to either project or ledger or project, or you have a period range of your chart of accounts based control budget that is shorter than the period range of your project control budget. Again, by default, budgetary control allows transactions without project attributes that don't match a chart of account based control budget to pass validation even if this checkbox is ticked. So to fail transactions without project attributes that don't match a chart of accounts based control budgets, you have got to tick that box as well. Additional mapping setup. This is your budgetary control budget automatically update the budget in the general ledger. If your source control budget doesn't contain all the segments from the general ledger chart of accounts, then you have to come in and do the mapping step. Mapping step means what? This is my chart of accounts, started by circle, program, unit, account, intercompany, project, future 1, future 2. Circle means it is a company or is an organization tool. Here there are two options. Always use segment value from budget data, or you are going to use a specific value when not provided in budget data. I selected this specific for unit, intercompany, project, future 1, future 2. Also, you can select a specific value if you have a lot of company code under this ledger. For example, if you have ledger XYZ ledger and there are 3 companies 01, 02, 01, 02, 03, and you are going to set up the budgetary control for only 01. You will not implement or apply the budgetary control for 02 and 03. So in this case you can come here and use a specific value when not provided in budget data. Go down. This is the mapping. Here revenue and the cash accounts. There are new features already implemented later by Oracle Cloud to make a budget for revenue and the cash. There are 2 options for receivable receipts and payables payment. As you know, you cannot make, or it's not logic to make a budget on revenue because you need more revenue. So the options, you can enable payable payments, but there is here one limitation. What is the limitations? Until now there is one issue in the payment form itself. It didn't make check fund, but the PPR as a payment process request, it's working fine. So this is a limitation for the revenue and control budget, and you can assign the cash controls account. This account as clearing During you make a payment, there are two accounts in there. The supplier is debit, the other one is, for example, cash clearing, until you clear the payment from cash management. So in this case, I will put on my clearing account to check the fund, because I cannot make the bank, because the bank account will be affected only when I make a clear. So this is the budget cash, but in this topic I will not talk more about revenue and cash control, and also you can enable the budgetary for business unit. Budget control journal exceptions. Here I did one thing for the assets and the additions. As you know, you can implement, or the business needs to implement, a budget for the assets clearing account. So in this case, let me go to Excel sheet. For example, if you enter the PO, the assets clearing will be affected, right? For any PO for assets items, assets clearing will be affected. And when you add assets in fixed assets, again the assets clearing will be affecting. So if you enable the budgetary for assets, in this case it will be debit and credit, it will be 0. So how to implement a budget for assets, but only when the assets clearing came from BO addition, not from addition assets in fixed assets. So what I did here, for journal exceptions, I told the system the journal source assets as a module additions, this is excluded from to budgetary control. So any budget or any transaction for assets as additions for the assets clearing, the system will not check fund for these transactions. But the assets, once the assets clearing entered during make any other transactions like payables or PO, the system will check fund for that assets clearing account. And this is interview questions, how to make a budgetary control for assets clearing. You have to tell him that in budgetary control journal exceptions, I will make exceptions for the journal categories addition for the journal source assets. So the system will make check fund only for the assets clearing if it entered for the PO and also AB invoice. I hope now this case is clear. Last thing, you are going to select the business unit. The same business scenario if you have underneath BGR 3 business units, but you are going to apply the budget for business unit 1 without business unit 2 and the business unit 3. So you come here and select your business unit. Again, enable budgetary control encumbrance account, and we have budgetary control enabled and also encumbrance accounting. This default rule, which we saw aerial, I think, in one of previous videos, transaction updates balances for the controlled budget period based on the default date rule here. So this is for liquidations and reversals. So we have the choice of current transaction budget date. So this is the most commonly used option. So it will liquidate reserved funds using the date of the current transactions. So for example, if the budget date for the purchase order is in February and the budget date for the invoice is in March, The liquidation of the purchase order will be dated March because it is going to be based on the current transaction date. We have also got the choice here for period related transaction date. So this will liquidation reserve fund using the date of the period transaction. So if the budget date for the PO is in February and the budget date for the invoice is in March, the liquidation of the PO will be dated February. And then you could choose system date, so you liquidation the reserved funds using today's system date. Now, as I told you, the mostly used option is currently transaction budget date. Procure to pay business functions. We have our procure to pay business function. This allows you to enable or disable budgetary control and encumbrance accounting for specific business functions and transactions type. So once you enable budgetary control or encumbrance accounting and encumbrance accounting for specific business functions, the downstream business functions are automatically enabled as well. So you can see here you have got your requisitions, procurement, expense, receiving, payable invoices. So we have is it enabled, yes or no. This depends on the organization scenarios. For example, requisition enabled, reserved point, which is a budgetary control at which reservation point, approval, requisition or submission. Also for procurement, submission or approval. Encumbrance accounting enabled, yes or no. Also you can restrict the transaction type details. For example, I disabled for project internal material transfer expense, no budget, no encumbrance, but I enabled for requisition for supplier and non-project internal material transfer. You have the option to enable or disable. Here also, procurement, standard purchase order, I enabled for both budgetary control and encumbrance accounting enabled. For expense the same, and this for project, I will not talk about the project in this topic. But again, you are going to enable budgetary control for all transaction source and documents or not. This is up to your business needs. So this is region and business units. Let me cancel. And we already talked about these four features. Let me cancel. This is manage budgetary control. Second step is manage control budgets. Here I defined my two budgets. I will come here. I defined two budgets. First one, other. Second is control. The other is using to upload the balances of budget. You cannot upload balances for control. In control, to control the budget, is it absolute, advisory, track, none, and so on. How to control, to track or consumption funds. In control, I will assign the other budget. So let's get into application. I define the two budget. I define the MS and the MS control. The status is in use. Let me start it by MS. I put name, descriptions, budget calendar. I selected my GL calendar. You can also define a specific calendar for your budget from manage calendar period, you can define a different category for budget other than the budget calendar for GR. I make it for 1 year from Jan to December. The source budget type I selected other. Here there are a lot of types: other, EPM, also control, and the other fourth type I think for any legacy systems. Others means it will be in Oracle itself and control. But for EPM the budget will come from EPM modules. The source, once you put the name and description, the source will be populated automatically, depends on the name and description. Selected currency, default rate type. Here control level, we have a lot of 4 types: advisory, control, absolute control, track, and run. If you choose absolute, it will stop transaction processing if there are insufficient funds after the tolerance. So it's absolute, you cannot go any further with it within the transaction. You are not going to be able to enter your requisition, purchase order, invoices, etc. We have advisory, where it gives you a warning if there are insufficient funds after the tolerance. So it will say, oh, you have broken your budget, but I don't mind, you can carry on. We can have advisory, you can have track. Track provides no notifications or warning about insufficient funds, and this control level tend to be used to report on funds consumption with no impact on the transaction lifecycle. And then we have none, which provides no budgetary control validation, and funds aren't reserved, transactions aren't tracked, and this control level is often used with supplemental rules, and we will talk about supplemental rules later. So I'm going to leave it at advisory because I will put my control level at the second budget as control budget. Tolerance, if you have a tolerance, you can enable ledger, projects. What is a budget manager? Budget manager, here in budget there is only one level budget manager. For example, if you are going to make override adjustment like this, it will go to only one approval. Who is this approval? This is budget manager. You cannot make, for example, override, and this override will went to 2 or 3 approvals. No, only one approval in budget, depends on the username which you already put it in budget manager. Here allow budget increase for adjustments, increase, decrease budget. You can enable disables, and here allow override. Once you allow override this checkbox, the system will give you what is the amount and which transactions you are going to allocate this override. So if you go up, I allow override, system asking me what the maximum override amount. I put 1,000 there. There are 2 checkboxes: notify budget manager. So if the user try to enter a transaction for amount with non-sufficient funds and the already maximum override amount is there, it will notify manager that there is no override to make approve or reject or request for more information, and also notify budget manager when overrides are taken. This checkbox you can take or not, but it's better or recommended to take these 2 checkboxes. After you enter the maximum override amount, the system will ask you to allocate this 1,000. I put it the full amount here for AB invoice, but you can make 2 or 3 lines. For example, 500 for purchase order, and the second line again 500 for AB invoice. So the total amount which you were allocated here, it must be equal the maximum override amount. Here, control budget structure, which segments you are going to apply or control budget. I selected 3 segments out of my 9 segments: circle as a company, program, and account. If you are implement a summary account, summary means parent and child. For example, assets. This is parent and this is child. And so this is parent for asset, and this is child. Here is a tree. Tree means you already defined the tree for the parent and the child, and you are going to assign it here for circle or program or account. But as I told you before, or as I said before, that in these scenarios I already implemented for child level, so I don't need to make a tree for parent and the child. So I didn't assign any tree. I already defined the tree for my account, but in this scenario for only low level of accounts. This is the first one of the other source budget type control. Let me cancel. Go to the other one as a control. I defined a new one as a control. Once I open, you will find here the source type as a budget type is control, but the first one, the type is other. The same name description here. Budget calendar, I defined one budget calendar. One budget calendar for what? Again, I will make my budgeting for yearly control. Yearly control means that if I have account 1, Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. I put the budget amount here, 1000, and the same. So each period I can make check funds up to 1000 for January, February. In case of the fund of January is no sufficient fund, but I need to take some amount from February or March or April. So in this case you have to define yearly and monthly. I already defined the monthly period budget for my first other budget, and here in my control budget I will make it as a yearly, but the yearly here it will be only one period. So let me come here and go cancel to show you how to define the budget calendar for control budget as a yearly. As you see here, from period to period, the same period. Cancel. Done. You can make manage calendar. It's not here. Go to financials. Go to general ledger, manage calendar. Let me put calendar, manage accounting calendar. Again, manage account calendar. I defined MS1. When I define this category or this period, you can I will define a new one. It will be better. Here I make budget 1 period. The description you can go to control. Start date I put it 1st of January. Here period frequency, monthly, quarterly, yearly, and so on. I selected yearly. Here the prefix separators, the name, and here I selected budgetary control only. Number of periods I selected 1. So how the system knows that this calendar for budget, you have to select budgetary control only. I put it name, description, started it 1 from January. Period frequency is other. I put number of periods is 1. 1 means the system will consider the full year as a 1 period. Go to next. It will ask you the period name will be this name. Quarter number is 1. Period number is 1. Here you can enter the year as 2023 and so on. So this is how to define a calendar, counting calendar yearly as a 1 period. Because in our case, I am going to assign this calendar to my other or the second budget type as a control budget. Cancel, done. Come back to budgetary control, manage control budget. My second budget is MS control. Let me write it here. So this is a yearly. The first one is monthly. Also I will show you here. I put it from the beginning of the year until the ending. So this is monthly. The yearly, I assigned it for the second control budget from period to period. Once you are defined in budgetary control counting, you came here and select it, and the from to will be shown automatically. Here the type is control budget type. How to assign this control budget to my first one as a other? Because as I told you, you cannot upload the balances for control budget. You have or you can only upload the balances for the other budget type. So I came here and told it the source budget name is MS, because what here the control, the consumptions will be depends on this control budget, but where is the balances in the budget name MS as a other budget. So this is the link between the other budget type and the control budget type. And this is also interview questions, how to link between control budget and other budget, or how to upload balances for source budget type as control budget. I cannot upload balances for control budget. I can only upload balances for the other budget type, and during define the control budget I will link between other type and control budget. Release budget for consumptions. Here there are two options: immediately or when the source budget period on open. The system will consumptions when the period of the budget must be open. If it's closed, you cannot consumptions, or immediately at any time. I here selected when the period budget is open. So the budget period must be open to let the user consumptions from the funds for the account. Again, currency, default rate, corporate. Here advisory control is also advisory. Why? Because I will go down and put my control level. We will talk later. Again, ledger, budget, raw budget manager, allow budget increase, the same options in the other or the first other budget type is here. Here, control budget structure, the same structure, budget circle as a company, program account, supplemental rule. Supplemental rules, I here put control budget advisor, but here I put like exceptions. I put 3 categories: spend, revenue, other accounts means the rest of accounts. So why I put it here advisory? Because I am not going to make absolute for all of the accounts. I put it here advisory. I am going to make absolute control level at only expenses account range. For the others, as you see here, I put it none and advisory. So for supplemental rules, I created 3 categories. First one is MS expenses. In MS expenses, I put it name, description, control level is absolute, no tolerance, amount, no. Business unit, I didn't assign any business unit because I have only one business unit. Which segment filter, circle, program, you can again assign a specific value like this. I make here, there are 2 options, all values or specific values. When I came to account, because these expenses, I assigned value details as a specific values. Click here. You can enter by range or tree, and the system will show you all of the accounts. So I assigned all of my expenses account here. So this is for specific accounts because this is expense, so I have to assign specific values for only expenses account. Here there is no additional segment filter and transaction attribute the same. And make it absolute and create another one for revenue, but in this case the control level is advisory, and also came for the account and assigned my revenues account code combination. Again, for the rest of the accounts, I told him don't make anything, it will be none. So all other values, it will be considered as control none. Again, this is depends on the business needs, but in my scenario, I created 3 categories: 1 for expense, control level absolute, 1 revenue advisory, the rest of other account is none. So this is how to define the control budget type, how to link it to the other control budget as a source. Here the control is advisory, but the system will work on some elemental rules to consider which is absolute, non-advisory or track. And this is also interview questions. What is the difference between non-track, absolute, and advisory? Here, once you define, you can, the status here is enclosed. Once you define the control, you can make prepare for use. In case if you are going to, this is the status of the any budget, prepare for use. This is the first status. Once you make a prepare for use, the system will generate a concurrent as a request. Once it's finished, the status will be changed to in use. Then close. As a closed, permanently closed, you cannot reopen it again or redefine to adjust. In case of now, I need to make adjustment. For example, let me cancel. Okay. Go to my MS control. Here also in use, I will make close to make any adjustment. Yes, the status is here closed. Here you cannot change. Here you can make redefine. You can permanently closed. You can again prepare it for use. So this is how also what is the status of the budget and how to redefine and how to close, permanently closed. And again I will, once you make a redefine and enter your adjustments, you can come here actions and prepare for use. Yes, it will be changed after this process completed. It will be changed from preparing to in use. Let me make a fresh. It is changed from preparing to in use. Also, let me check to close. Yes. Redefine. Yes. I just need to here not ready. I will prepare again for use. Yes. Okay. I'm preparing. Let me click. Close. Yes. Redefine. Yes. Error because the other one is still not used. Prepare for use. Okay, cancel. Yes. Now this is finished. Let me again change to prepare for use. Yes. It's submitted. After some seconds it will be in use. Now the both are used. Now let me navigate to how to upload the balances. But before upload the balances for budget, let me take, because I already uploaded before 2 accounts, I will go to control, take as example 2 accounts for my expenses, specific values. I will take for example 541104, this one, and the same 541108. Now I'm going to upload budget amount for both of these amounts and show you how to upload the balances. Close. Done. Now the both in use status. Go to home page, navigate to budgetary control, go to tasks, enter budget in spreadsheet. These are steps how to upload. Here there are 2 types. Is this initial? This is the first time to upload budget for the accounts, or this is a revision like adjustment, amendment like this. This is initial. What is my control budget? MS budget. Why here MS budget? Because again I cannot upload amount for a budget type as a control. I can upload only for the other as a type budget. Here the same from beginning of the year to the end. What is the interim budget scenarios? Budget amount here again, is it addition as adjustment or subtraction or new? It is new. Let him create the spreadsheet. It's downloaded. Open. Ask you to connect. Ask you to enter your username and password. This is a new version. Skip. Processing. It asks you what about the circle as code combinations. I will select my case. Why it's showing only this? Because I already make budget segment structure for Syncio as a company program account. The other or the rest of the other segments I put specific values like zeros or defaults. I will select my code combination here. Okay. Program, I will put zeros. Account, I will search. You cannot take a copy paste. You can search for first one is zeros. Put it here. Search. It is here. Okay. Okay. If you try to put any account not included in the budget setup, it will not appear in here. So this is another issue. Sometimes you have to try to upload budget amount or enter budget for a specific account, but once you fulfill the code as a value set, the account not appearing here. This is because you didn't mention this account in your budget setup. You can put, for example, 2000. Again, copy and paste for the whole year. You can come here, check unprotected. You can make insert another row for the other account. Select your circle, program, account. Here, program as zeros. Account will be the second account. Click on search. Search here. You can okay to check is it appearing. Yes, so I will put 3000 for the whole year also. Then try to submit to check the status here. Is it inserted successfully or not? Submit. Failure, continue. Yes. Row inserted successfully, and there are two process is completed or in process. Let me duplicate. Go to tools. Sorry for that, tools and process, schema processes. Let me still the status is running until it succeeded. After this step, we are going to make enter transaction to check the fund. I will make two transactions, one for period and the other one to take amount from the whole year or the full year as a monthly and yearly. Now there is one still running. You can also check the output of the import results and the import analysis to check is it uploaded successfully or not, because sometimes there's a report showing an error during the importing and the uploading. Let me hold the video until this. Now let's check the status of the output of import results. Go to down, it must be published here. You can select HTML. Here there are two here as you see there are total number of accounts. This is the net and this is the amount. Check the other one for the analysis report. Is there any publish output? Again HTML, it will show you how much you uploaded for which code combination, our 3 segments, 2000 for April for the first one, 3000 for the second, and so on until of December. So this is the report to show you what is uploaded, what is not uploaded, what is succeeded, what is not succeeded as a business analyst budget. Sorry, as a control budget import analysis report. So now we are going to make 2 transactions in EP invoice. Go to invoices, payables, invoices. You can also create invoice from here. Create. First scenario, I think we uploaded here 2000. So I will make one invoice for 2000. Then I will make another invoice in here in August. Then I will make another second invoice for 5000 in the same period to check is my budget working yearly or monthly or what. Okay, let me take it copy. Before that, as we said before, during the implementation of the setup, I put it the period of the budget must be open. So again, before enter the transactions, you have to check the budget is already open or not. Go to here, period, budget period status. Here I already opened for August. If you go just check, it's open. For September you have to open or not. So before the user consumption, the amount of the funds, you have to check the period, is it open or not. Again, go to payables. I already opened it before. Go to payables. Invoices. Create. Select your business unit, which you already selected during the implementation of budget. I will put supplier, number, test, monthly, budget. I will put 2000. Keep it 1000. Here today, the date is today. Standard. Go to lines. Enter your code combination. 1000. Just increase. Open. Circle. Our circle. Program. Zeros. Unit. Zeros. Account. Our account. For the budget account. Here. Search. Okay, intercompany is zeros. Okay, that's it. You can come here, put tax classification as 0. Go save to check is it saved or not. Is it saved? Let me try to check fund. must be validated. Validate. Okay, let me check fund. Okay, let me check the fund here is reserved. Once you check the reserved, because the invoice is already validated, you can click on reserved and check here what is control budget, our two budget, and the budget manager is the same, we already assigned. If you check the budget, here we took requested 1000, available now 1000, because we uploaded 2000 for the August. Now requested 1000, available the net between the requested and the budget amount, which is already passed for the control budget. Now close. This is okay. Now let me review the balances before to make the second invoice. Again, go to budgetary control, review budgetary control balances. It will ask you some parameters from, I will select only August, from August to August, all amount, circle, our circle, program zeros, unit zeros, account, our account, let me first, sorry for that, select my budget control. Let me select this other to give me the fall from August to August, circle zeros and 1 0 zeros. Let me search. This is our program is 0, account, our account. This is account, so you have to select control budget, search. You will see the total budget is 2000, you expenditure or our consumption is 1000, so the funds available is 50%. Because we uploaded 2000 for this account, for budget, for period, we make one invoice for expenditure by 1000, so the net now is 2000 minus 1000 is 1000 as a 50%. If you need to change the invoices, just click on this hyperlink. It will show you the transactions, date, what is the transaction also, and the activity. So this is our transactions, supplier side and so on. Now I am going to create the second scenario to check if the system will take monthly or yearly. Go to payables, create invoice, again business unit, supplier side, number, yearly, budget. I will make 3000 for the same August. Now the net amount in August for consumption is 1000. I'm going to create one invoice as a 3000 for the same account, this account, to check is it the system will allow me to consumption or not. Again, everything, go to lines, enter the lines, here 3000, distribution combination, your segment values, program, unit, account. I will put this the same, intercompany, okay. Tax, I will not calculate any tax. Try to save. Invoice validate. Okay, now it's validated, but here with warning. Why it's with warning? Because here advisory with warning with insufficient funds. If you check the budget, the available minus 2,000, requested 3,000. This is a warning, but the system is allowed me to validate it and check fund. Let me now go to budgetary balances to check it. Done. Now it's completed successfully. Come back to budgetary control to check the same account as balances. Budgetary control, balances. Select your budget, MS, from August for the full year or the August until August. Circle, program, account, search, again here. For the August you go down here. For the August 2,000, right? We uploaded the budget amount 2,000, but expenditure 4,000. Why 4,000? Because the first invoice we entered 1,000, the second one in the same month we entered 3,000. Here the fund available is minus 2,000, so the fund available minus 100 because you taken from consumption of the yearly of this account. So this is how to make two invoices to check is your setup is working fine or not, the yearly, monthly consumption fund, past warning, insufficient fund, and so on. You can also try to upload one invoice with more than the total amount for the full year to check if the system will give you insufficient or not, but I think it will work fine because our two scenarios now working fine for monthly and yearly. Let's come back to my PowerPoint. By the end of this topic, I hope you to go to how to define the budget, what is the budget options, how to define budget calendar for budget, how to define monthly and yearly budget, how to upload budgets, check funds, review budget control balances, how to assign the accounts range, how to implement some elemental rules, what is the difference between other and control, what is the difference between advisory, track, and absolute. Thanks for watching. I hope to subscribe my channel, and also I am available for any questions either on my Gmail or your comments on my videos. Thanks for watching.